think we're on. I don't know why I'm standing here staring at you. So hi, welcome. I am Kat from Kat's Creations and More, and I want to welcome you to my studio today where we are doing vintage again. So I know I promised towards the tail end of 2023 we're going to do a lot more vintage wreaths, and rolling into 2024 I'm going to try to make sure that we incorporate those, if I can, in every holiday that we come to, so that we kind of have like a vintage style patriotic, a vintage style summer wreath and stuff like that. So today we're doing vintage Seaside, and I can't wait to share with you all the design elements. But first, let me go ahead and make sure that you have a couple things handy. Number one, if you want to share this tutorial, it's super simple. Facebook users, you're just going to click the share button down below. That'll take this tutorial, it'll save it to your Facebook page where you'll have it handy when you get ready to put together your own. YouTube subscribers who are catching this on a replay, yours is super simple. You just hit the share button and it'll allow you to take this video tutorial and save it to your channel or put it in a file folder where it is relatively easy for you. Also, if you guys want to be notified, both Facebook and YouTube subscribers, Facebook users, you're going to want to make sure you do two things: that you have hit the like button for this page and that you're also following that. Now, I know you might be like, well, I already like your page. Well, it's the follow button, the like and follow. I don't know why Facebook made it so complicated. They hid the follow button, so it is directly right next door to the like button. Those three little dots you see there, if you click that, it'll open up another submenu where it'll allow you to follow the page, and that's how you turn notifications on for any Facebook Live that you want to make sure that you are subscribed to. YouTube subscribers, you're just going to want to hit the subscribe button, and that will let you know whenever we upload a new tutorial. Also, for YouTube, I have been going back through taking your feedback that you guys have been sharing on YouTube and making sure that if you want to find a specific part of the tutorial that you want to go back on rather than, you know, playing with the fast forward and the rewind button, I've started to incorporate it chapters. So when you click on the videos, this one will be edited later today, but anything, I want to say up until almost summer of 2023, I've been able to get through. It's a long process, but now you can go to specific things like, how did you make a bow for this? Where'd you get the materials? Stuff like that, so that you can go right to that section of the video that is more available to you. Also, YouTube subscribers, you can do a new thing too. You can subscribe to my YouTube membership. So if you had thought about becoming a group member, but you can't really get to the whole Facebook side of thing, maybe you don't have a Facebook page, you can now do that from YouTube as well. And you'll find all of that information in the description book, or the description box below this video on YouTube. Okay, I am going to make sure you guys are all, let me go ahead and make sure before my face melts off. I have my heaters on because it's only 48 here today. What the heck? We just had like almost 70-degree weather like 2 days ago. If we were in California, we'd be primed for an earthquake right about now. Because that's just what happens in California when the weather goes weird. You get seismic activity. We don't need it in Washington though. Here we go. Let me just go ahead and put that in there for you. Okay. Oh, Gail, she said, I just made it to Boston after her flight being canceled last night. It's snowing there. Well, my friend, I hope you stay warm, and I hope you can get in and get out relatively quickly and get back home to Florida. Definitely going from one extreme to another. I'm going to go ahead and pivot you down so I can show you what we're making today. We're going to go over all the materials at the very beginning, and then we're going to put it together and hopefully see that we can breathe life into this design. So let me go ahead and pivot you down. You're moving your mom next Thursday? Well, that's a good thing. Hopefully that means your Boston trips end. I think that's straight. I'm always trying to look at my camera angle. Okay, time to turn the heaters down. So, materials required: 14-inch Dollar Tree frame. although you can do this on any frame. I'm using it this way just to kind of keep the cost of the initial wreath down quite a bit. It doesn't mean that I'm doing substandard quality wreaths. It just means that, you know, we base our pricing on the cost of the materials going in. So if I can keep that low, then I can keep the finished price low as well. So this happens to be a gold one. Dollar Tree started with just the regular, I guess it'd be like a green, like a dark green. And they have now added silver and gold. I'm using gold because it's about as close to a beige color that I can get. Not required. Like I said, I could have used green and it still would have been fine. I am using a fabric checked mesh, and this just happens to be a mint green color. You can get this from Craft Outlet. The sign that we're using as our inspiration is this one. It is a 8x10 aluminum sign. You can get this one from Jane at Jane's Front Door Decor. I'm trying to get it so you can see it without the glare from the lights. Kind of like that. It just says "At the Beautiful Sea." It's got some sandpipers, a set of beach chairs, an umbrella on the ocean. So that is our design inspiration. Our ribbon selections for today are going to feature a basket weave mesh and a 2.5 inch, I know you can't really tell, but this is an iridescent Dupont ribbon. So this is really new and it looks amazing when you pair it with a beach wreath, because it's got that, like, it's almost like a rainbow effect that you see, and it doesn't really show up well on camera, but I can show you it's there. Both of these are from Craft Outlet. The 1.5 inch ribbon we're using is going to be this blue with little white swirls. That kind of reminds me of the waves. We're doing a white diagonal plaid on a natural. This is from 5th Street Studios. This is also from Craft Outlet. Then we're doing it's called White Circle Pearls on tan, and this is from Craft Outlet. And then we're following up with this ribbon that I've had forever from Hobby Lobby. So, and Hobby Lobby right now has their ribbon, their mesh, and their florals, which is odd, all at 40% off. So you can score over there and pick that up. We are now ready to go ahead and finish wiring our frame. So we're going to take our pipe cleaner and we're going to wire together the two inside. And each of the 6 sections is done exactly the same. I saved the last one for you. So we have 6 on the inside. And then I used to kind of go, well, I'm going to take the outside too and kind of, you know, use the weld. And this is a midway point. But sometimes you don't really get a midway. So what I've been doing is kind of moving them so that they're roughly about every, let me see. We're doing the outside too. Let me see about how far apart these are. I want to say they're about 3 inches. So every 3 inches, I am adding them. So here's another 3, and then I'll come in here. And what this has been doing is it has been changing the look of the outside so that you don't necessarily have these two really close anymore. They look a lot better when you go and look at the outside ribbons that are surrounding the design. It used to be that these two were really close and these two are really far, and now when you look at it, they're all like evenly spaced. So using fabric mesh, because it is fabric mesh, it frays, because you cannot cut this with a wood burning tool. So you have to use the rotary cutter. So we're going to go ahead and ruffle this design because we have our sign that is a 8x10, which is fairly large. And then we're going to be adding bows and some embellishments here. But we're just going to go against the way that it curls. These are cut to 20-inch pieces. I have 18 of them. So 6 on the inside, 12 on the outside. And you're just going to gather and pull that forward. I just put something heavy on it so that the end can stay flat and not roll forward. I'm going to start with the inside one here. And I'm just going to kind of center that as best as I can. We're going to add 2, 3, 4, 5 twists. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be removing the inside 6 as we go along. I'm going to tuck the remainder back down. And then we'll deal with the frays as we finish the design. So if I start cutting them now, by the time I come in and add ribbon or anything else in this design, it can get to be a bit of a pain because we're going to keep moving things and keep adding things. So it's better to wait to the end, and then anything like this piece right here, I would just go ahead and trim off so that it doesn't continue to fray. So we're going to do the method that I call the next one, which means when you're laying your deco mesh pieces in, I'm going to go to the very next one that I come to. I'm going to lay that right in. Now the middles serve as fillers for the outside pieces. So just one good twist. And then this is going to kind of lay on top. I like to take the ends and kind of fold those down. Same thing on this side, so that we keep that frayed raw edge under the mesh. It's not on the top side. The next section. And then lay this one down right on top. I'm trying to get my pipe cleaner situated. One complete twist. Same thing. Make sure our ends are folded down. I like to take my pipe cleaners if I'm done using them and just lay them to the left so that when I go to come in with my next piece of mesh, it doesn't go through the mesh, as you will see. Okay. So I love fabric mesh for the fact that it is soft. And I wanted this to really be reminiscent of like tropical beach waters. So that's why I opted with a little bit of the green color. Because your beach waters can be blue, they can be a darker blue, they can be a green. So again, because this is a center, I'm making sure that we take this and it gets laid beneath the outside left piece. So that when we come in and we lay the right side piece on, that's already providing good coverage between the two. There we go. Making sure those pieces are sufficient. So again, laying them under. So now we have good coverage. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Cindy. Thanks, Joan. She said, thank you for the great tip. What tip was that? Was that like how we're doing the mesh? I'm always curious, like, what aha tip did you discover? Okay, now I'm going to go and pull this one back so that I have access to my pipe cleaner. Come in here, lay that right on top. Make sure that those frays are there. These ones are a bit long. So I'm going to go ahead and take this. Again, make sure that it's under that piece that I just laid right on top. That we fold the ends down. Just like so. And now we're ready for the next piece. So I like to make sure that I have access to all of these pipe cleaners, because when we come in to add our ribbon, I need to know where those are, so that it just makes it so much easier to do. And when you're doing a live, you know, timing can be everything. there's that one. Now we're going back to the outside. If these are in the way, move them to the right so that you can come back in, find your pipe cleaner, one complete twist, right side this. Wow, that one's just like sticking straight up. Okay, got good coverage there. Move to the left. And now we're going to come in with that center piece right here. And we're going to go ahead. What questions do you guys have that I could potentially answer for you while I'm laying in our Deco Mesh pieces? Okay, coming in, laying this directly in the center. We're going to go ahead and twist about 5 times to make sure that does not find its way to becoming undone. We'll tuck that piece in the center. Take this one, make sure it goes under the outside piece. Just like so. And now we have really good coverage. And if you feel like you're seeing your frame, like I noticed it right there, it just means my piece on the outside has kind of folded over on itself. So I can move that side piece out of the way. So now we have good coverage. Because the one thing, I don't know if you've noticed this, while the center provides coverage, like this provides coverage for these two, there's no center here. You could add more Deco Mesh, but you don't need to. This method of cutting 18, 20-inch pieces will ensure that you're only using one complete roll of Deco Mesh. You will have no leftovers, which for me is huge. When I started wreath making, I hated having leftover rolls because most of the time I wasn't going to reuse those in any future design. Maybe the design was so unique, you know, what are you going to save it for? And I know it's like, but I paid good money for it. Maybe I'll find a use for it. If there is only maybe a third of the roll left, depending upon what the pattern looks like, you might be able to incorporate it into a future design. But what I have found in almost 7 years is I never do. So I'm just wasting craft space, which for me at the time was a premium. I'm sure it is with you guys too. Storing all the supplies takes up space. And having to store pieces of Deco Mesh takes up a lot of space. Now we're ready to do our inside one again. I just have these all rolled together. So I did these earlier in the day, but I didn't want to have them like 18 pieces all over my workspace. We're doing the inside one. So I've got to push back that left side piece, place this inside, tuck that little end all the way back inside, and then we've got to get this under our outside piece. And then we also need to expand to this piece so that we have really good coverage. So I'm going to take and tuck and then just readjust pieces here. Like here's another one of those things happening. So I'm going to take and make sure my pieces overlap each other. Just like so. Now we have good coverage. Oh, Joanne said the placement of the pipe cleaners. Great. I'm glad. I think that's how it works on the work frame, is they are almost perfectly spaced so that when I go to add, you know, embellishments or stuff to the outside pieces on the lower level, it almost works out perfectly, but I had been noticing that for here, it wasn't. It was like, I've noticed that like two pieces are really super close to each other, and the other two pieces were a little bit further apart. So I wanted them to look a little bit more uniform. How is your guys' weather? Here we're back to another gloomy day. But I love gloomy days. So for me, it's a happy day. We're supposed to have another small storm move in Saturday and Sunday, which for Steve is happy guy, because that means that he doesn't have to do yard work on the garden because this is going to be raining. Okay, we're prepping this for the next outside piece. I liked this sign, and Jane introduced this sign probably about 5-6 years ago. And so when I first came across it, I liked it because it reminded me of the song, The Beautiful Sea. So it reminded me of vintage boardwalks, you know, time spent on beachside vacations. And so that's kind of the theme and where I'm headed in this design. So while fabric mesh can be super soft, because you have to cut it with your rotary cutter, it's going to fray. That is just what it does. But we can try to minimize that fraying by spraying it with an adhesive spray known as E6000. And that can kind of help hold some of those fibers in. Okay, we're getting ready to do our outside one. Getting down to the final. And you don't have to be so precise when you're scrunching your deco mesh. You can be, you know, just kind of gather it whatever way feels comfortable for you. Sometimes, see like how that pipe cleaner is just really struggling. It wants to go through the mesh. And so that's where these, even tinsel ties will do that. It wants to go through the holes in that fabric mesh. There we go. Now we've got our inside one, and I think 2 outsides. Yep. So an adhesive spray like E6000 will not leave your deco mesh stiff. It still leaves it nice and soft and pliable. What it does do though is it helps hold those wayward frays in place. If you still pull on them, you can pull them out, but it helps it from fraying any further. So this one's got to go back under. Again, back under here. And then I found too that just by flipping those cut ends under, that helps a lot, because that is where it's going to fray. Anywhere you touch it on the cut edges. So that's why we put the finished edges going towards the inside and towards the bottom, because this is where people are going to fluff their ribbon. That would be like your touch points. Forgot that one all the way in. We've got 2 outside pieces right now. So we're going to put this one in. And then our final left-hand piece. I'm trying to get that pipe cleaner out of the way. making sure. Kept seeing this one underneath. Making sure my center is spread out so that these have good coverage. Okay, last one. And then I'll give you the finished Deco Mesh base dimensions so that you know. It should yield a 24 to 25 inch Deco Mesh base, because when you take 10-inch Deco Mesh and add that to a 14-inch frame, you're basically adding 5 inches on either side. So that would make it a 24 or 25. It just depends on how you lay those in. Okay. Take your time. Make sure your final piece is in there the way you'd like, so that we're all ready to add in our ribbons. So let's take this and move that out of the way. So from Deco Mesh end to Deco Mesh end, you're at 24 inches. Okay, just to give you a little bird's eye snapshot, this is what that sign is going to look like on this color Deco Mesh. So you can kind of see how it really goes in and pulls out all the blues and the slight undertones of green on this mint green base. Okay, so we have our ribbon tails and half bows set up. The 1.5-inch ribbons are cut to 19-inch pieces. The 2.5-inch pieces are cut to 14 inches. And so what I'm going to do is, those are the pairings. I'm going to pair the mesh with the Seaside print. And if you've noticed, I didn't dovetail the edges of this mesh, because this mesh stretchy ribbon is a little bit different. I don't want to do it because it'll start to unravel, but I'll show you the unique thing that does happen with using it. I'm going to fold them over so I can find the true middle point. Going to open this, lay that right inside. We're going to kind of fan that out because that draws your eye outward. We're going to make a half bow, which is bring your dovetailed ends together. You're going to go up about 2 inches and pinch in. And then you're going to take that and lay that right inside. Since I'm finished with what is going to go in there for now, I'm going to cut the leftover. And then I'm going to take this, tuck this right behind. I'm going to open the loop. I have to always right side my left side so that I can see both ends right side out. And I like to kind of pair them so that one kind of goes in between the other, and that is a half bow look. Then on the alternating ones, we're taking that iridescent Dupani right down the middle. I am going to open this. We'll lay that right on the inside. If you want, you can try to squeeze them both in, but I find it's just easier if you do one and then the other. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Pinch that inward. And then we're going to twist our pipe cleaner to make sure it's tight. Cut the excess off. Twist this around the back. Open the top. Now the ribbon's always going to want to concave in like a scoop. So you're going to have to get your fingers underneath and really bring that ribbon out to the front. So that this is now the look of the ribbons that are going to adorn the entire outside. And we're just going to continue that until we are finished. There are 6 sets of each pairing. So again, the 2.5-inch ribbon is cut to 14-inch pieces. The 1.5 is cut to 19-inch pieces. All of the ribbon that I'm using right now came from Craft Outlet with the exception of this one, which is from Hobby Lobby. I've had it forever, and I was like, I really need to use that ribbon. I've had it for a long time, and I've never designed something to go with that type of ribbon until now. Okay, gathering up the center. I would encourage you guys, if you're not currently on my email list, make sure that you are, because there's a big announcement coming on Sunday, and it's going to go to my email subscribers. So you can sign up through the website. I think I pinned it below. Did I not pin it? Maybe I didn't. I thought I did. Oh no, it's pinned down below. So catscreationsandmore.com, it's like the second option that you get to. Just make sure that you're all signed up. And then you will know something exciting is happening next week that you can be a part of, and it doesn't cost you anything. Okay. Going to keep going around, and then if you want, you can go back. Remember how we moved all the pipe cleaners to the left? You can just kind of open those up so they're ready to go for your ribbon tails. Also, my private group is still open, and I still have not raised my prices yet. You can still get the combined bundle for business and design courses by just visiting the website below. You can go with a monthly option, which doesn't lock you into any contract or anything like that. You can go yearly, or you can go lifetime. And then once you sign up on whatever plan you decide, it doesn't matter what I do on the back end process, your rates are locked in for you as long as you stay a current member. So good things are coming. Really good things are coming. Okay, I'm looking. Charlotte says it's gorgeous and 72 in North Texas. Joanne says it's gloomy and windy here in Northern California. Yeah, I saw you guys are supposed to be getting some rain. But I just was down in California last week, and I'm so surprised to see Lake Shasta's reservoirs back up to where it used to be. That was such a beautiful sight. It was dismal seeing it empty. And just seeing all the rivers and everything is green again. It used to be so depressing driving in through California and just seeing all the dirt fields, the farmlands that just were lacking for water. They're now all green again. It's not just spring, it is. California has got some water. Okay. And I'm trying to make sure too, when I put my ribbon in, that I'm putting it in so the anchors are facing up and not upside down. Because that's what you'll see on the loop part. I realize one direction's going to give you right side up and the other side's going to be upside down. But we can play to that while we can. That one was just in my way. I had to take care of that fray. Okay, still going around. Hi, Tanika. Hi, Cheryl. She says, I love that seafoam green. Oh, if you could just see the iridescent metallic threads going through this. I think I'm in love with Dupani ribbon because it's thicker than like a satin ribbon, and it just has such a beautiful look to it. Okay. There we go. Try to pop those out. Trying to straighten these. I've got 4 more. 4 more? Yeah. 4 more to go. So 2 more of each. And normally when I'm in my shop just designing wreaths by myself, I just take my time. I would just sit here and put some music on. If it's raining, listen to the rain on the roof. And just really take my time. It's a really good de-stressor. Designing, creating. So I love to be able to do that. And I haven't made a beach wreath where it's been something similar to this in quite a while. Okay, so see how I'm really taking my fingers and pushing them up and out? That's what you're going to want to do to make sure that it just keeps your ribbon fluffy and not flat, full of life. Okay, there we go. There's so many different design elements you can use. I know I was at Hobby Lobby the other day because they have a lot of stuff on sale, but I went because their florals are discounted this week because I'm going to be doing a beach grapevine custom order for a client, and so I needed to get my florals, and they just have so many different design options. Like, it's always a good idea just to kind of walk around and look and see, you know, a lot of times what they're coming up with for spring could give you some inspiration. And then we just have this last one to go. But you could add florals. You could add a set of sandpipers. Hi, Kathy. Welcome from Virginia. You are most welcome. She said, thank you for teaching us. You're most welcome. I feel that anybody can do this. And I know some people are probably shaking their heads going, yeah, you haven't seen my design process. Yes, you can. You can do this. When I first started out, I struggled with bows, like most people. It's kind of a challenging element, but you can still design a wreath and not have to put a bow in it. This one will have one, but you could easily not put a bow in it and just maybe add a wooden sandpiper to this because it's in the sign. You could add some seashells. You could add some pampas grass. That would look really pretty. You know, maybe behind the sign. I kind of just, most of my inspiration definitely comes from my signs, but then some of it also comes from the ribbon. So as you can see, we have this all in here. And the one thing that I love about this ribbon is it's stretchy ribbon. So on the ends, we can just fan this out. It does stretch. So that's why we don't cut it. We're just going to fan them. I think it'll take it almost all the way to 4 inches. Not that I want that big of a look, but I kind of want it to look like a seaside net. So there we go. And that's all there. Watch when we add our sign, how beautiful that design starts to slowly come together. So let's make our bow. And I haven't yet decided if we should make, let's see if I can get rid of that. I can't really do the overhead light, can't move that, but we can. I'm thinking maybe add 2 bows, like one here and one here maybe. We'll see. Let's see what we can do. So let's grab all of our ribbon. And I'm going to do the Dapani on top of that beige, because if we put the beige down or the Dapani down, it's just going to blend with that mint green base. So that kind of sets the tone, I think, for the layout of this design. And I kind of want to end with this. Out of our ribbon in this design. So let's grab our Bodabra. I'm going to zoom you guys in. I'm going to try to set this up to where I know exactly where I need to zoom you. I'm trying to give you measurement space so you can see that. I think that should work. So we're going to go 10-inch tail, and then we're going to gather that in. We're going to twist and place that right inside that Bodabra. So it's got a little bit of a spring, so it'll kind of hold things in there. We're going to do another twist. Stretch this out, not too far because I don't want to stretch it. And I want it right at 5.5 inches, which is right where that is. So that gives me a 5.5 inch loop. And that's measuring it from the center of my Bodabra out to the end of where my loop ends. And then we're going to do that here and make sure we're right at 10 inches. That one is finished. Let's make sure. I'm going to just put my pins in them for now. I think I want to. And we're going to do a dovetail in on this Dupani, which is just bring your wired edges together. We're going to cut from that fold right down here to the wired end. And that'll give you a really gorgeous dovetail look. Ducktail, I don't know what else to call it, fishtail maybe. This one we want at 9.5 inches for our tail length. We're always doing the twist. And this time we want our loops at 5 inches. So I just kind of gauge it, press it in, put it back on my 10, stretch it out, and then pull it back in to where I'm right at 5 inches. Okay. This way I'm assured that when I go to fluff, that each of my loops are the same length, each of my tails is the same length. So I shouldn't have like one side with a bigger tail than the other. Okay. And then we're doing the brown. I have all these little pieces here. So this brown is from 5th Street Studios. They're a ribbon company on Etsy. And this one's going to be 9 inches. A twist. Place that in the center. And we're going to go 4.5 inches for this one. This is my personal bow recipe. And if you like this recipe, and you would like to get that for free along with the tutorial that walks you through just how to make a bow, look at what happened here. That's not good because I'm not going to have enough to finish it. And I'm not about using unfinished things. So let's do that again. Sometimes we find there's just a splice right in the midst. Okay. I'll save that piece because that's just enough if I wanted to use a top piece to make the top part of a bow. I usually only save it if it's about 24 plus inches. Right at 4.5 and then back out to 9 inches. Okay, and then the next one, that swirl with the, it's like a mint with a white swirl on it. This is from Craft Outlet. It's one of my favorite ribbons, especially for beach or winter, like Christmas. Go ahead and trim that folded end off. Do our dovetail end. And we've got winds picking up, which is lovely. 8.5 inches is our tail length, and we're going to go with 4.5 inches, which is the same as the one beneath it. So here's a shortcut. Just kind of gauge where it's at. Put your finger in both loops and give it like a tug, and then you know that it's right at that level. Same thing, gauge it, pull, and then we still need to measure our tail to make sure that is at 8.5 inches. Dovetail end. So like I said, if you want this bow recipe, you can pick this up at my website. Actually send it to you for signing up on the email list. YouTube subscribers, if you want the bow recipe, just go to catscreationsandmore.com and you can sign up on the email list there, and you'll get the bow recipe, which is on a recipe card, and there is a link there so you can actually just watch how to put together that bow, and it's just a free tutorial. I feel like the temperature is dropping in here. It feels cold. We're going with an 8-inch tail, and this time we're doing 4.5-inch loops, or I'm sorry, 4-inch loops. So just right on here, 4 inches. Measure your other side, 4 inches. And then we're going back out, and we're going to cut our tails at 8. And then we've got one more ribbon to do. And if I have to do another ribbon or another bow, we'll go really quick. I'll just do that one really quick. But if you need the step-by-step, you can rewind this video back to the very beginning where it says making the bow. So this one is a 7.5-inch tail, and it's a 3.5-inch loop. So we're going to do the same here. 3.5 inches. And then we're going back out to 7.5 inches. Dovetail our end. We will grab a pipe cleaner. We'll get a white one, I think. Do I have a white one out? No. Here we go. Because I'm thinking I'm going to go white. Could have gone beige. We're going to pick up the whole thing. We're going to sandwich that really good. It's a lot of ribbon in there. We'll drop that down, and then I'm going to hold it right underneath, and I'm going to twist. I'm holding the pipe cleaner in my hand, but I'm twisting the ribbon because I know a lot of you have issues with your hand strength. So I'm trying to decide if I want to, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make another bow really quick, and then we'll fluff them. So this will go really quick because I won't be talking. You can ask any questions you want. Hi, Janaea. Shell said, I'm trying to find them more. I'm pretty sure I cried when I first started making bows. Your recipe finally made sense, and I was able to make a decent bow with your tutorial. Well, thank you for that. It gave me the confidence to make beautiful bows. And though I rarely make a different one, I now try new bows without fear and trepidation. Well, thank you, Cheryl. So again, I'll just go over the measurements with you. 10-inch tail, 5.5-inch loop, and yes, I do it the same way all of the time. It's muscle memory now. And sometimes the muscle memory will even be to where I know roughly where 5.5 inches is. I roughly know where 10 inches is. Almost out of my pretty ribbon. Okay, our Duponi. Because I'm thinking I want this one to have 2 bows, one on each side of the sign. Kind of like how it has the 2 umbrellas. These bows will be bookmark ends for the sign. So we're going 9.5 inches in. And if you like this wreath, it is currently available for sale on my website at the link pinned below. And you won't see a picture of it. It'll just say Facebook Live. You can grab this one and it will be exclusively yours. Because I don't make the same design twice. Okay, there's that one. 5 inches for the loop length. And we're doing 9.5 inches for our tail length on this one. Dovetail that in. This one is all done. Let me grab my basket. So I use these things from the Dollar Tree. These are like my craft baskets. And when I'm done using things, because I just don't want to try to stack the ribbon and try to put it all away, I just get these little project baskets and I'll just walk around the shop with a sign and kind of put the design ideas together. I'll throw the mesh in. I'll throw what ribbon I think would look good in there. And then I just keep the projects around. So this one is a 9-inch tail, a 4.5-inch loop. Need to go a little bit longer. 4.5. I think it should be right about there. Almost a little too long. And then back out to 9 inches. We haven't done double or triple bows for a while, so that's why I figured we'll do a double bow on this one. And that'll go in. And then this one. So Dollar Tree is great, you know, because it doesn't cost you an awful lot just to have a container where, you know, you're putting your ideas together. You know, it might be like, well, I still need to find a ribbon that'll work with that mesh or that sign. And just putting them together in little design baskets. I try not to go more than 3 at a time, and then I start putting them together. Okay, remember we're doing the shortcut because these are both 4.5 inches, but we're going 8.5-inch tail on this one. And there goes the rain, which we weren't supposed to have today. It's very faint on the roof. And now we're doing this pearl ribbon, which I absolutely adore. It's been one of my favorites. I just like the elegance that comes from this. This one's going to be 8 inches with a 4-inch loop. I always just like spin off a little bit so that I'm not pulling it out of my bow maker. There's 4. 4, a little bit more, and then back out 8 inches. There's that one. It's so much easier just to take that basket and go walk through and put everything away where it all goes. Because I'm all about now organization. I don't know when that kicked in. I mean, I've tried to be organized, but I'm also trying to simplify the process. Kind of like cleaning as you go. So this is a 7.5 inch tail, a 3.5 inch loop. Up and over. 3.5, a little bit longer, and back out 7.5, and then we'll put our pipe cleaner on here, and then I believe these are both going to be bottom bows, so I'll show you how we're going to fluff using this recipe to fluff a bottom bow. Okay, that's all done. Pipe cleaner. I already have my glue gun on, so it's all prepped and ready. We're going to hold this at the bottom and give it a couple twists. That is done. We'll grab our fluff board. Okay, now I'm going to show you how we're going to fluff these. These are the easiest bows to fluff. So if you followed the recipe, you should be able to fluff these bows super easy. And the reason why I created this fluff board is because I could fluff it this way, I could fluff it on the wreath, but I needed something to prevent it from rolling off the cutting mat. So I needed something stationary. So I was like, if I got a board, kept it low and flat, that should work. So hence fluff board. So we're going to take the C-hook. I'm going to secure that right onto the pipe cleaner that I have going. And now this keeps this bow from moving to the left or right. It still rotates, but it helps the process. Okay. Go a little bit bigger, but not much. We're going to simply take a tails all the way to the bottom, since this is a bottom bow. So just start at your top stack and pull all your bows down, or tails, sorry. So just pull everything that is a tail to the bottom. That's about as simple as it gets, folks. And everything is still flat. Now you're going to take the top 2 and you're just going to lift from the bottom, the first 2. Then you're going to come over here and I want you to go opposites so that you have this one opposing here and then this one here. And then here, you decide, do you want this in between or do you want the beige in between? Whichever one you want, move one high, move one in between, okay? You're doing opposites on this side, so we're going the swirl to the top, the diagonal plaid will go in the middle now, okay? And then the outside pieces, I'm going to go beige because I've got the blue here. We're going to open those up. I'm going to put the Dipani in between these beige ribbons. And then we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull this up so it goes right between those two. This will go between the bottom two. And then you just simply play with your ribbons till you get it into a position you like. Your whole goal is to give life to that ribbon, not to flatten it out. You don't have to go way crazy on the fluff part, but you can do a minimal, but just so they're not laying flat. And then down here at the bottom, you're just going to give your ribbons a curl, which is just run them through your fingers. And it'll kind of help them have that curl that we used to get from curling ribbon. Okay. You won't see it so much on the bigger ribbon because it's just laying flat on the board. But now you can just go ahead and, you know, lay those out so they pair up where you want them to pair. Sometimes I like these to come in between and just break up the colors. So there is our first bottom bow, just like that. Super simple. It'll look so much better once we get it on the wreath. There we go. Okay, I'm going to pop this off. And then we're going to fluff the other one. Same way. Do you guys remember what the first step is in fluffing a downward bow? Let's see if you remember. And YouTubers, you can participate too. I go in and I read your comments. Hi, Vivian. You're in Lake Stevens, Washington? We're having a lot more Washington people here. I love that. I would love to get together and have a lot of, do a class for local people. Okay. Well, in case you guys forgot, we're going to take the tails down. Remember? We move the tails down. That's the first step. Take all the tails and move them to the bottom. Yep. Jane says, bring your tails down. Exactly. What's the second step? While I'm doing this, this just is, like I said, it works for, you know, if you're going to do a bottom left, bottom right, or a center bottom bow, this is the process. Okay. What is our next step? I think that's it. Oop. What would our next step be? Do you guys remember? Yep. Thanks, Jane. First two loops. So the first two loops on the top. Right, Allie, pick up and split the top two loops. Awesome. Good job. So exactly that. We pick up the top two and we're splitting them. So if we go the pearls down and the anchors up, then we're going to go pearls up on this side and the anchors down. But we're always opening those loops. And then the next section is, you know, pick what you want to come to the top. I think I want my little swirls up here, and I'm going to put the diagonal plaid in between, although here we bring diagonal up. Actually, let's reverse that, because I'm like, here's blue, here's brown, so let's go these two up and let's switch. That makes more sense because it looks nicer that way. And then the same thing with the bottom too. You decide what you want to come up where. I have like all these blue, so I'm going to bring in the brown up here. So we're going to do brown up, blue down. And remember that ribbon stretches, so if you want your loops a little wider, you can definitely do that. We're bringing the Dupani up. And this one's going to go down. And then just give it your desired fluff. curl your tails, because then that's just going to flow all the way through your wreath design. It's just going to follow that pattern all the way down. Okay, so just like so, we have our bow. Felt like a Dr. Seuss moment right there. So there is our bow. I'm going to go ahead and pop this one off. So we've got them both already ready to go. And we'll bring our wreath over. We're going to add our sign first of all. So we are, since there's nothing on the back, we want to make sure that we add our business card so your client remembers, who did I order that from? So I'm just going to glue that. I want to make sure my sign was facing in the right direction. Okay. Just super simple. Glue that right in. And then we're going to take our metal hole punch and we are going to add a hole to the top and a hole to the bottom. This is a 1.5 millimeter hole punch. It just literally goes through as easy as a paper hole punch. And you can get this on Amazon. I will link this product in my description box when it goes to replay for Facebook followers, and for YouTubers it'll be in the description box. Okay, then I'm just going to take floral wire, because I prefer floral wire when using fabric mesh. It just goes through much nicer. I don't have the luxury anymore of having like nearby craft stores. Yesterday I had to go to Hobby Lobby. It was an hour drive. It used to only be a 5-minute drive for me. So we're going to go ahead and put our floral wire through. That hole punch, by the way, will also support a pipe cleaner. And I'll show you it. The pipe cleaner will go right through that hole, even though it seems small. We're going to twist our wire directly over that hole, so it gives you a base for your sign to sit on. And like I said, that hole, even though it is so tiny and so small, your pipe cleaner, because it's just a fuzzy wire, will go right through that sign. So you can use that hole. That's what I used to use, but I found certain types of mesh like that fabric mesh or jute mesh. It was just so nice to be able to take floral wire because it was so much more stiff and I could just get it through. And this is 22 gauge floral wire. I get it from Michael's on a big spool. We're going to lay this right in the center of my wreath. And remember those pipe cleaners we removed on the inside? Remember the inside ones? To make sure that we are right on the money, I'm going to use my wire. I'm going to run that right down on either side of that rail. That assures me that that is the center, depending upon how I lay that. I'm going to move this in. I'm going to try to grab my wire, and I'm going to push that down. Oops. I have my wire on either side of my hand. I'm going to grab this one, and we should have an opposing pipe cleaner. We do. It's right up here. And that just makes it super easy for us to keep everything centered right up the middle. Trying to get my wire to not go through the big bundle bunch. And I'm actually going to loosen the bottom one because I have it a bit tighter than I wanted, so that I can bring it up to where it centers right over our sign. So that one I think I'm happy with. So let me reposition the bottom one. Oops, still have it twisted. Okay. Now that I can pull some of my ruffles around the bottom, now it's centered. Okay, now we're going to feather the bottom edges and the top edges of our sign so that we get rid of that harsh shape. We'll be fluffing the bows around the outside a couple times. So just take your deco mesh that you have, just kind of tuck and pull this right around your sign, right on the corners, just like so. Got that one up there. Like I said, again, I'll be fluffing bows for a while. This one I'm going to kind of take and lay these ones below my sign because they're going to give it a nice support. I still have these. This is where we're going to put our first bow. So I am going to make sure my tails are at the bottom and that I'm not impacting my sign too much, but just like right there. This may take a minute to get it through that fabric mesh. Almost done. It always gets stuck on one piece of fabric. So I'm going to push it down so it stays at the level I want. I don't want to pull it all the way to the frame, because if I do that, then what was the point of fluffing? It would just lay flat. So we're going to have this one kind of come across the bottom, just like so. And then we're going to do the same on the other side with our other bow. First thing we need to do is we need to take our mesh and just kind of tuck it below. Because if I don't, what this does is where this mesh sits is where my bow wants to sit. And it's a pretty great quality mesh, but it's actually such a great quality, it'll elevate that to where my bow won't go down where I need it to go. We're going to bring this up and over. I want to make sure they're centered pretty much right there. And let me make sure I've got it on one side. My pipe cleaner's bending. Push it down to the center, and then we'll be able to readjust our loops on our bows. Okay. Now we can take, if you don't want your bow loops, contacting your sign at all, you can just move those down. You can move them up so that they're like just framing your sign instead of laying right on top of our sign. So this is what we have thus far. And like I said, I'm just readdressing. This sign at the bottom is too tight for me because it's like divoting down, and I want it to just ever so slightly come up, just like that. But sometimes you have to do that. And then this is where you'll take care of any frays that you see, because we are pretty much done with the fluffy part. Make sure your mesh is behind your sign. Fluff all your ribbons. Just like so. And that's where that's at. And we're going to add a couple embellishments because this is a Seaside wreath. I want to make sure that we have, I'm trying to get the corner of this mesh to go right under our sign. There we go. We want to add some seaside elements to this. So inside each of the bows, we're going to add a cute little seashell. And so I got these from Michael's. It's a cute little bottle, but I want the stuff on the inside, which is these little zebra-shaped conch shells. So I'm going to pop that open. I'm hoping they'll come out. I don't even know how they got those in there. Okay, there we go. Very carefully is probably how they did it. All right, so we're going to take these small little ones. That one's a little bit bigger. I'm going to add those to the inside. I'm like looking to make sure they're big enough. There's a really big one in there I want. Here he comes. He's about the equivalent of the one I have on that side. We're going to add those right into the center of our design. So there is a flat space on the bottom. It'd help if I actually put a glue stick in the glue gun. So we're just going to place that right there. Gonna hold it by the top. Place it right inside my boat. And we've got the pear. So I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay, there's that one. And now I am just removing more of those. Let's add a starfish. I haven't decided what kind of starfish. So we have these starfish, which are just like this size. And I think I got them from, I want to say either Hobby Lobby or Michael's. So we have some starfish we can add. I also have some, where are they? We have some pencil stars too, which I think might look a little bit better, like these. Like these are pencil stars. And I actually get them from Amazon. So we have like these ones. So I think we should add a couple of these throughout the design. Let's see. Looking for ones that are a little bit more flat. Because like we can tuck one in. We can tuck one in at the bottom. It's got a flat end over here. Like that. Let me flip this around. We can tuck one in down here at the bottom. I have a bigger one. And these ones are known as spiny starfish. So we can like kind of just tuck one in. I'm going to see if I can get that to kind of finesse inside there a bit. Like that. Let's get rid of that. There we go. I like that a lot better than the other. I might do the other ones at the top. So this arm and this arm need to be glued. So I'm going to glue that arm and the other side of the arm. And I want to get that right in between, right where we had that. Oops, trying to get that thread. There we go. Now it's out of the way. Okay, let's add some more stuff. So remember those ribbons that we had at the bottom that are like our little stretchy ribbon? We can add a wide variety of things. We could add seashells. We can add, trying to go through my seashells here. We can add a couple underneath like each of the, whatchamacallit, the ones with the dots on them. So let's add some seashells at the base of the half bows. So just right underneath here. Okay, here's my bow. I'm going to stretch out my ribbon. Then I'm going to do the same on here. We're going to add a little conch shell or something different. Okay. So I've got a couple of those. We could add seashells to our sign. Just again, to bring that whole seaside look in. I'm gonna go up here to the top. We're gonna get these ones. We'll add a sea star to this one. So I'm going right in the center, just a little bit radiate out to the arms because I'm kind of laying that right between my loop. So I've got that. A little bit of the ocean. So these are like things that I would think of that people would find on their walk through the ocean. Here's another little, let's call it like a unicorn seashell. We're gonna pick this one up right underneath this one. And I like putting our zebra conch right here on the sign, right on the end. And I'm going to go ahead and put the other one so they're kind of like little bookends. Just like that. And there you have it. That is our beach seaside look for this particular design. What do you guys think so far? Like I said, there are so many different options of things you can use. I save all my seashells for all the times where we go around the beach, and I've incorporated those into this. Of course, wash them, make sure there's no sea critters inside. We're going to come back in and fluff everything, but what do you think so far of the design? I'm going to go ahead and pivot you up so we can put this on the door. So hang tight really quick. There we go. Full-size door. This is your outside standard door. We'll take this one. Place that there. I'm going to go ahead and tuck this one up right on this black door. And then we're going to do all of our fluffing. So like right in here, you can take your ribbon and fan all those ribbon pieces. You want to make sure all of your tails are not folded. Right, we only get one chance to make a first impression. Same thing. If you've been in my private group for a while, you know we're all about a process called slow the scroll. And so we want to make sure that we create something that if somebody was scrolling through social media, it would slow their scroll. So just make sure everything looks amazing. Because you only get one chance. Either someone's going to like it or they're not going to like it and they're just going to keep on going. And our goal is to make sure, hopefully, that they love it. Okay. And like I said, make sure everything pops. Make sure all your glue threads are disappeared. Make sure your wreath is hanging straight. Make sure all of your ribbons can be seen and accounted for. Just like that. I keep moving that. Here's my glue and glue and glue, and that's why I love a black door, is because it shows all your imperfections everywhere. So there we go. That is our final design. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for you guys so you can see what that looks like right on the door, so that you can see final design. Like I said, this is available for sale on my website right now. So if you like this design, it's ready to ship. It can be shipped as early as tomorrow for you. What other questions do you guys have? Hi, Lori from Delaware. Thank you, Jane. She says you explain everything so well. I love your calm tone and thorough instructions. Thank you. And Birdie says, really pretty. Thank you, Birdie. Right, Cheryl? She says even little oyster pearls would be amazing. So you could, like if we wanted to do that. Guess what we have? We have little oyster pearls that if you wanted to, they look like this. Little oyster pearls. You could take these and on the ribbons like here that we didn't use, or you can kind of tuck them in just randomly around the design. Those are definitely something you can do. Dollar Tree does sell them by the bag, so you can pick those up if you want to incorporate that into your design as well. Okay, well that's all I have for you this week. I cannot wait to show you what's coming next week. I know you guys are going to love this. So make sure that you come back. Make sure that you're following me Tuesdays at 4 Pacific, which is 6 Central, 7 Eastern. And on Thursdays, we go early, 11 Pacific, 1 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye for now.